I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do. This thing is one of the top 3 most important pieces of gear in my studio. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This video is going on both of my YouTube channels, Mixing Music Analog and Home Recording Made Easy. And I don't normally do that, but why am I doing that this time? Because we're taking a look at a piece of gear and I want to show you just the flexibility of a digital patch bay, which could be used in a small studio or in a large analog studio like I have here. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to compare the Flock XT digital patch bay using their Patch App DX, and we're going to listen to it on some drums, and we're going to cycle through a bunch of drum bus compressors, and I'm going to show you how you can audition and swap pieces of hardware off our drum bus just like you would with plugins. So that's what we're going to do in this video, so stick around. Okay, everybody, welcome back. So, as I said in this video, we're going to take a look at the Patch XT, and we're going to take a look at a bunch of 7 different stereo compressors, hardware compressors on a drum bus. It's going to be very, very cool. Now, this is not a sponsored video in that Flock doesn't even know I'm making this video. I've had the Flock in the studio here for probably about 6 months. If you want to see all the videos around the Flock XT, check the links in the description box below. There'll be a playlist over at the Mixing Music Analog YouTube channel. So if you're watching on Home Recording Made Easy, click the link in the description box. You can see me unbox it. You can see us install it. You can see us do some tests, walk you through the app and all of that stuff. There's probably 5 or 6 videos. This is the next video in the series to kind of give you guys some information. So before we jump in here and I show you how it's all set up, let's just take a quick listen to what we have here. So basically what I have here is a pretty much not even a full mix. We got drums, bass, and some electric guitars, a little bit of light EQ. There isn't a single compressor plugin on anything. It's just running through the console, a little bit of balance, a little bit of panning. And we're running through my master bus, which is the SSL Bus Plus, which has a couple of dB compression. And we're also running it through the Empress Pultec style 2BQ, which is by Gain Audio Lab. And that has a little bit of bump at the bottom, a little bit of bump at the top, minor stuff. And then it's running through the Neve MBT, and all I'm doing is a little bit of stereo width. So that's what we got going on here. So let me just give you a little sample. This is with drums, bass, a little bit of rhythm guitars here. And then we're going to break down the drums. We're going to take a look at these drum bus compressors. Going to show you how this works. So here we go. Hello friend, I hope you're enjoying the video. Hey, if you're serious about becoming a better mixer, then check out the mixingacademy.net. Every month you'll get a brand new set of multi-tracks and mix along with me step by step and learn the why behind every mix decision. You'll also connect with other mixers, join me for live coaching calls, and I'll personally give you feedback on your mixes each month. Click the link in the description below and check out the mixingacademy.net. Now back to the video. Okay, there we go. So there's our little sample of what we have going on here. Cool little rock tune, really good groovy tune. Okay, so now let's jump on over here into the Patch DX app by Flock Audio. Again, links will be in the description box below to check the stuff out at Flock. Check it out at Sweetwater, Vintage King, or other favorite online retailer. If you buy one of these at Sweetwater, I will get a small commission. Thank you so much in advance. Again, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just trying to show you how I use this, and I want to show you some of the latest really cool features. I did a shorter video describing this feature, but I'm going to show you two in action. So if we take a look here at the Patch app, on path 33 and 34, that is my drum bus. So I have all of our drums, kick, snare, hats, racks, floor tom, overheads, rooms. All of that is being bussed down to a stereo drum bus, and that is path 33 or 34. That is my drum bus. On that drum bus, we have 7 different compressors that we're going to audition. Now, what's really cool about this new feature in the Patch DX app that came out somewhere in the spring of 2025, as I sit here in the fall of 2025, you see this little icon right here called AB? if we click on this, or if we right click on one of the compressors here that are inserted on our path, and we go to AB list, this gives us the ability to load up as many pieces of gear as we want, in this case 7 different compressors, set them up to where we think they sound the best, which I've done, which I'll talk about in a second, play back the track, and just cycle through them one at a time. Listen to one, it'll take it out, put the next one in, just like you would with plugins at the click of a button. This is one of the coolest features that Flock has put out for this unit. Before, you could line up you can line up all 7 compressors in all your different slots here, and you can use some key commands to bypass one and unbypass the other. And that was cool. And I did a video on that, and that worked cool. But this works a lot better. So let me show you what we have here as far as compressors go. Now, the way I have this set up, because each one of these compressors has some different settings. Some have more or less settings than others. And my goal wasn't to match the settings exactly. My goal was to set these up the way I would typically set them up on a mix. We're doing about 4 dB of compression on a drum bus, on a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio. I'm not using any compression on any of the other tracks, so I'm compressing it a little bit heavier than I typically would on a drum bus, and to make it sound its best, okay? So keep that in mind as we're looking through this. So the first compressor that we're using is the NG Bus Compressor by Wes Audio. Now, this is a hardware unit that's digitally controlled with a plugin. Again, I have that set up to where I think it sounds the best. And when I'm playing these back, I'll show you some little iPhone video on the screen so you can see the meters and all that stuff. I'm not going to go through every single setting, okay? If you want that, you want a more detailed look at all the different settings and make this a long video, leave comments below and I'll do that. The next one is the 33609 or the 609 by Audioscape. Okay, I labeled it 33609, but it's the 609 by Audioscape. It's their copy of the 33609. Underneath that, we have the D-Comp, again, by Audioscape, which is more of the dial bridge kind of compressor, like the TGs type stuff. Then we have the good old DA3A or the LA3A, once again by Audioscape. Audioscape's featured a lot here. I got a ton of their gear, done a ton of videos with them as well. You can check all the links in the description box. I'll put up my Audioscape playlist. You're looking for some hardware, great quality at a reasonable price. It sounds killer. Check out Audioscape. After that, we're using the 1178. I mislabeled it and called it the 1187, but it's the 1178, which is the stereo 1176, once again by Audioscape. Then we have the 260 VU, which is their model of the DBX2 260 or the 160 stereo unit, again by Audioscape. And then the last unit is not an Audioscape unit. This is the RSE Very Mute compressor. A wonderful manufacturer out of the Ukraine, small little boutique shop. We did a video on the channel. Again, I'll try to remember to link all this stuff below. Again, it's all in the Mixing Music Analog channel. Sitting right up there in the rack. Awesome, Very Mute, Fairchildish style compressor. Okay, so the way I have these set up again, we started with the NG bus here. I'm hitting about 4 dB of compression, a couple of the drum fills, maybe a little bit more. Again, slow attack, fast release. We're using a side chain, I think at about 50 hertz on all these compressors. And just dialed it into taste the best I can. And I tried to level match them the best I can. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to solo up the drums. Let me mute our guitars here and our bass and our tambourine. Okay. And we're going to start with the NG bus. And then just at the click of a button, all I have to do is left click and it'll switch out now. You'll see on the path here to the 33609. Then the D-Comp. Just like that, just like a plugin. Here we go. Listen to the differences, and I'll tell you what I kind of hear, and you can leave comments below and tell me which one you like. Here we go. Here's some auditioning of some bus compressors here with the Flock Audio patch app and the XT. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to turn down my 1178. I think that was a little loud. The LA3A was a little bit brighter, seemed a little bit louder. Let me just dial that back. Just a little bit, just to try to be fair here, because we don't want it to be louder, because louder is better and all of that. So let's cycle now. It's one way you could cycle through them. The other way you could cycle through them is just by clicking the AB button. So if we start with the AB, just left click. It'll automatically switch. So let's start with the NG bus again. Again, I'll put video on the screen if I haven't already. As the compressors are changing, I'll put the unit itself with the iPhone video so you can kind of see it. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. Here we go. NG bus. So which one did you like? I think the 260 VU might be a little bit loud as well. I can try to adjust that. But here's what I'm hearing in the room here. The big surprise for me, to be totally honest, was the RSC Varimu. The Varimu sounds great. I never really would think to put a Varimu compressor on a drum bus, but it just gives it that big thickness. It gives it kind of that nice richness on the kick drum. I really like that a lot. Whereas like the 33, it's a little bit more pillowy, the RSC. It seems a little bit more, for lack of a better, a little bit more warm, a little bit more cushy. I know it's a weird word. Whereas the 33609, that thing sounds much more punch, the Neve. You would think so. It's got a real aggression to it. The LA3 sounds brighter to me. It's why it sounds louder. It just seems brighter. And I love what the 1178 does to the snare, which is really cool. So I like them all for different reasons. You can use any one of these. Now, typically, I'll be honest with you, prior to having the Flock XT, I would, my go-to is always the West Audio NG bus compressor, which is a VCA, which is the SSL on steroids kind of thing. And I've used that for, I don't know, 4 years since I've had this mix room. And I love that compressor. It sounds great on every mix. I would always use that because I would never really take the time with a manual patch bay to kind of swap them out. This is the beauty of this system, to be able to audition things and to learn more about the gear and to quickly do it just like that is really, really cool. And then you can make a decision on which one you want to land on, and then you X out the other ones and they're back in your list and you can use them on your other tracks. That's brilliant. That's just freaking brilliant. So on this particular mix, I kind of like either the 33609 or the Varimu, which is really cool. But what I'm going to do is we're going to start with the NG bus. Now I'm going to put this in the mix. I'm going to bring the tambourine, the guitars, and the bass back, and let's kind of just cycle through them in the mix, and let's just see which one we like. Again, I'll keep the list open here, and I'll just click on them. But again, you can just click on the AB button if you want. If you just want to bypass stuff too, by the way, all you have to do, you can use the key command. Hold down your command key, click left click, and it'll just bypass the unit if you want no compression, with compression, that kind of stuff. And again, I've done a whole video on the functionality of some of the key commands and such. You can check that out below. But let's start with the NG bus with the band in. Now let's cycle them through them. Here we go. kind of like the 260 VU and the RSC here. I think the 260 is a touch louder too. Again, I'll try to maybe level that in post. But anyway, I think it sounds great. This system, and again, I have the XT, which is a large system. It is. But they make these at all different versions. So they make smaller units with less IO on them. This is the big one. This is a 96 in, 96 out, 192 patch points if my math is correct. But they make 16 in and out, I think 32 in and out. You can daisy chain these things together. So you don't need to have the XT to be able to do this kind of thing. You can do this with any of their systems. So if you're a smaller studio and you're just starting to get into some hardware, or you have, you know, less than a handful of pieces and you like moving things around your mix, this thing is great. If you're someone like me who works with a lot of hardware, this thing is a godsend. I'm going to throw a picture up on the screen of one of my last recall pictures before I was using the flock and using my manual patch bay. And the amount of spaghetti wires and those manual patch bays were crazy. Not to mention, I was constantly going through the TT cables. Every so often they get scratchy. You got to jiggle them around. And when you have that big mess of spaghetti in front of you, believe me, you're not going to go over there when you have all those patch points and just swap things in out. Plus, with a manual system, as you probably would have realized already, if you wanted to audition these things like this, you have to unpatch and repatch, right? So you listen to the NG bus and you go, okay, that sounds really good. Then you say, I want to try the 33609. Well, now you got to go over to the racks, unpatch the West audio, patch in the 609 by Audioscape, come back to the sweet spot, hit play, listen. By the time you go from one to the other and make that change, it's probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes worth of your time. You've already forgot what the first one really sounded like. You think you remember, but you don't. To be able to do this, two things for me, and then we'll end this video. One, just speeds up the workflow. Huge time saver when I'm mixing a project. Even if I'm not experimenting and I'm going to kind of my favorite things on favorite instruments, just to drag and drop stuff on there and not have to worry about patch cables and all that stuff speeds up the workflow tremendously. 100% recall. No longer do I have to write down patch points. This saves with the session. In the session, let me just show you, they have this little utility app called the Bridge, and the Bridge will sync up to your sessions in the Patch DX. So when you open up your DAW, it automatically will load the patch app with the session the way it is. It auto saves every time I make a change, so I don't need to write down all the different patch points for every session. So it's 100% recallable. That's really cool. Manual patch bay, nada. Can't do that. So it speeds up the workflow. Recall makes things a lot easier. But besides that, the big thing is being able to do these kinds of experiments, and you learn more about the gear. You learn more what works, and what doesn't work in your particular project. It makes you more creative, without a doubt, because it's not a chore to just swap things in and out really quick. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, move on. Okay, which is really cool. So you find yourself putting gear on pieces or on elements that you normally wouldn't do, or you normally didn't think of, or you didn't have the time because you didn't want to go manually patch. It's just a great system. Yes, half of you are looking at the screen going, but Dave, it is so much more expensive than a manual patch bay. It is. There's a lot of technology in this box. But if you're someone that uses hardware and you're building your hardware collection and you find yourself with a spaghetti in your patch bay, this is something you want to consider. I know it's an investment, but it's killer. And again, I was skeptical. Go back and watch the first videos when we first unboxed it, and I talked all about that. And I said, I really have to put this in use. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do. This thing is one of the top 3 most important pieces of gear in my studio, right? It's in the top 3. My SSL, my Trinoff Nova room correction, and this Flock Audio XT digital patch bay are the 3 most important things in this room, hands down. Hands down. More important than any other piece of gear in those racks. I could swap this gear in and out. It really wouldn't matter all that much, but having this digital patch bay is killer. So anyway, I'm going on and on. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Go check out a Flock system. at Sweetwater. Use the affiliate link below. Thank you so much in advance. Let me know in the comments on either one of the YouTube channels what other experiments and things you want to see. If we're doing it on a drum bus, maybe we can take every single compressor I have, put it on a snare drum, put it on an acoustic guitar, put it on a vocal. We can do the same thing with EQ as well. We can do single pieces, or we can do compressor EQ combinations, and we can swap out chains of gear. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see, or if you have any questions around this flock system, I'll be happy to create content for you. So until the next video, where we take a look at some more cool things that we can do with the Flock Audio Digital Patch Bay, I've been Dave with both mixing music analog and home recording made easy. Thank you so much for watching me, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next video.